Why don't we go ahead and get started? Can everyone hear me? Great, okay. So we'll go ahead and we can send it out to everybody else. And if they join, that's great as well. So thank you for your time. Appreciate you being interested in what we have with Over the Edge. And I figured it'd be a good idea for at least at the Over the Edge to go ahead and introduce ourselves and then our guest speaker, Kelly. And then we can get right into it. We don't want this to be any more than 25, 30 minutes long at the most. So we'll just give you some high-level information. And if this is an interest of yours, then we'd love to be able to set up an additional call from here with interest. So Cindy and Evan, do you guys want to go first? And then I can go last and I'll get started.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Evan. I'm one of the admin marketing coordinators at Over the Edge. So I do a lot of the initial outreach and kind of coordinating between building and our nonprofit partners. And I work predominantly in the West and Central region.
And I'm Sydney. I am also an admin marketing coordinator, and I focus mainly in the Eastern region, doing the same as Evan that she does in Central and West.
And then I'll go ahead and introduce Kelly, and she can talk a little bit more shortly. She's our guest speaker from another United Way. So her name is Kelly Geiser, and she's the Director of Advancement in United Way Fort Wayne. And I actually got to meet her in person. I got to be at her event with her to see that great success that she had. So we're super excited to have her as our guest speaker to be able to speak to you from a nonprofit aspect and working with Over the Edge. Kelly, do you have any more to say about that? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you going to introduce yourself at all, or should I just start talking?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and introduce myself, and I'll actually start a little bit with some high-level stuff, and then I'll hand it over to you.
Perfect.
How about that? Okay.
Awesome.
So I'm Canyon Barnes. I'm the Growth and Strategic Partner for Over the Edge. My role at Over the Edge is to support potential and current nonprofits in running a unique, profitable, and exciting urban repelling fundraising event. So that's my main role. And truly, we've started in Canada in 2004. And in the US, we started in 2008. In 2018, throughout all those years, we hit over $100 million. And we're sitting around $104 million that we have been able to fundraise efforts in the US and Canada. We've had over 95,000 participants, repellers, have gone over the edge, and we've worked with over 1,200 building partners. So we've got an impeccable report, our run loss report. Our nonprofit partners, people that we're working with and we're looking for are someone that's looking for long-term. We're looking for someone that has a vision for an annual event. Our nonprofit partners are looking for something different. There needs something to stand out than all the other run loss, the run walks and the golf outings. People value our event because it's unique, and it's an event that it's a peer-to-peer fundraising event. So we average about 68 participants the first year, and we average about $134,000. We're exclusive. I think that's a huge piece of Over the Edge, that we self-limit the number of events. It's based on population in the MSA, the Metropolitan Statistical Area. That's important for us to make sure that it truly is a unique, that's how you are able to set yourself apart from the other events and the other nonprofits in your area. And it's one of the most valued part of it is media exposure, the visibility of the event. It's about, you can't put a dollar amount for the different the coverage that you receive from this event. It's something that you can have live repels with your media. We do that all the time across the country, and that's great exposure for the building itself, your building partner, and for the nonprofit, for your cause itself. So it's a great way to put out your mission based off that. And when they're doing a live repel at the time, that's pretty unique. And so that's another thing, the unique donors. A lot of people are looking for ways to increase their donor base. And though you have your go-tos, this event brings on something new because you're able to now pull from just the adventure junkies or ones that love to do rock climbing or biking. There's a lot of mountain bikers that love to do this kind of stuff. So that's a great thing. If you have a college around you, going to the local associations that they have or clubs that they have are a great way to bring in new donors, and that then they learn about your mission and they become passionate about that. So I think that's a great way to use your current donor base, and then you get a whole new or addition to donor base, which is great. It's a one-team approach. I think that's important. We have changed our philosophy over the last couple of years, and you truly are assisted from contract all the way to execution. I think that's a big part of it, that you're never alone, and that we also can do outreach with other nonprofits and other partners such as Kelly being here on the call today to be able to speak to you about what her experience is with Over the Edge. So that's something that we always want to be able to use. We always want you to have resources. We also have a web page. It's members only, and there's just so much on that that you'll get from it that you can really pull from when it comes to it's all readable, it's all copyable, and it's editable. So that's a great way to be able to use it when, especially when you're sending out your stuff, so you're not having to do something brand new. So that's all, that is a part of the resources, are a part of it. Again, we're looking for nonprofits that really want, the United Way, that looking for someone that's looking for an annual event, not the one and done, because we all know that the first year doing a big event like this, you're going to have bumps in the road. However, it's very successful still, and Kelly can speak to that, but you're going to learn things that first year that you're going to change potentially the second and third year moving forward. So having that vision and knowing that that's what you're looking for, this is a perfect event for that. And then fundraising, fundraising will help you, like I said, along the way, but just to kind of think about it, it's your individual repellers that is doing the fundraising, as well as your corporate sponsors. So there's multiple ways, there's multiple ideas, and we have a ton of suggestions and successes that we can share with you along the way on how then you can double your money based just on looking at both different donor bases that way. And we're incredibly inclusive. This is a family community event. This isn't something that you need to have, your rope experience. We ask people all the time, and people have never touched a rope before, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is truly supposed to be something that's meant for the community. That's why we say it's one of the best community events. And right now we all know that we're looking for something that can bring a nice dollar amount, and 134,000 as an average is a pretty great dollar amount, and having the ability to bring your community involved in that is a great way. And it's young and old. We can have anybody from, we've seen as young as 10 and as old as 92 years old. So that's really fun. Again, the experience is not it. We do a lot of the work. They're in charge of their own rappel. However, it's a very safe environment. So we support nonprofits in running a unique and profitable, exciting fundraising event. And we really would like to be able to partner with you and with more information as Kelly goes through it, and we can tell you how we can set up the next call moving forward if you want to know more. Kelly?
Well, you hit the nail on the head on the vast majority of what I was going to speak to. So I'm just going to use this opportunity to kind of reiterate and validate. The idea of an Over the Edge event was presented to us about a year ago, almost to the day. And from that initial contact, we began determining how it could practically apply this unique event, and unique, I use the word crazy, but unique will do, in our community, and to raise dollars because of it. We set a goal of $100,000, and I am very proud to report that we exceeded that goal and actually raised over $260,000 for our community. So I'm just going to kind of high level give you some pieces of information that was instrumental to our success, and then go through some of the key takeaways. First of all, I think it bears repeating. Over the Edge was invaluable to the success of our event. They give you a template for everything. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to come up with your own timeline or marketing plan. They really give all of those tools to you and walk with you every step of the way. For us, our next step was we created a volunteer-led committee, and we hand chose those individuals based off of their relationship to the community. And then the next thing for us, which I would say is the focal point of any Over the Edge event or any fundraiser, is the cause behind it. We asked the committee to decide what would be measurable, marketable, and fundable, and they chose for us Strong Neighborhoods, which was based off of community conversations. So we had background information that this is what our community was interested and invested in. We sought and obtained matches. In the state of Indiana, we are fortunate to have the Lilly Endowment, and then of course Indiana United Ways to support us in the match efforts. So our matches total 2 to 1. Which essentially tripled what we were going to make from that peer-to-peer fundraising component. In addition to that, we were able to recruit sponsorships that covered the entire cost. Every cost associated with this event was covered through sponsorships. And how we tiered that, and we did use a tiered approach, is we considered our building host a sponsorship. We created an event sponsorship, hospitality sponsorship, and then rope sponsorships. Those, I think sponsors are always interested in not being amongst 50 other names on a t-shirt. And so we really did focus on having those be intentional and valuable to both us and the sponsor. And then the other thing that was hugely a big piece of our success was our mobile cause. So we used that as our peer-to-peer fundraising platform. They did a lot of the work for us. Individuals who signed on to Repel were given kind of their own profile page that they were able to share easily to social media, etc. So that was key for our success. And then the final thing that I really, really encourage you, and do this early, and don't take no for an answer, or every no you get asked 10 more times, is we engaged our local media and high profile individuals. We are fortunate to have quite a few in our small, big town, individuals who are celebrities. And we, of course, got some no's, got some funny, responses of like, you're crazy. But the yeses that we got were super, super instrumental. For us, we didn't really ask those individuals to raise dollars. It was more them lending their personality to the event, although I will tell you, many of them did raise dollars. So for us, the key takeaways, over 650 individuals contributed. We are still processing, but it looks to come at around roughly 80% of those individuals unique donors, which as United Ways, we all know that that is huge. The team component was super beneficial to us. So for instance, Three Rivers is a very large local finance institution, and they created a team where they brought a multitude of repellers. Probably next year, we're going to focus more on pursuing that avenue, just because it seemed to work really, really well to have that team component. And then we engaged those who wanted to be a part of the event but were too afraid to repel, by asking them to volunteer so that they could still be very much a part of the event. And I would tell you that the volunteer component on this is pretty large. It's not a huge expectation. We were able to nearly fully staff it with our in-house staff, but volunteers, of course, are important to the work that all of us do. And then afterwards, we completed surveys with all of the entities involved. So we surveyed our staff internally, our volunteers and repellers, and then we held a debrief afterwards. What I will tell you is 100% of the individuals who participated in the survey said that they will participate in it again, they enjoyed it thoroughly, and that the Over the Edge staff was amazing. So those are our key takeaways. But really, like Canyon said, for us, the awareness component is something that we can't place a dollar amount to at this point. We had struggled and had many conversations in our strategic planning efforts of how to reach audiences that we hadn't previously been in front of. This event for us did exactly that. And we've got our date booked for 2022. So I'm super excited. I can't say enough good things about the staff and their come alongside. It's a lot of work, but for us, it was well worth the investment.
Thank you, Kelly. That was great. And yes, I'm sure anybody that's here on the call that is on their first year, or if this is a potential event for you, it does take time, and it does take some energy and motivation to want to do the event. However, you're never doing it alone. But we always say, it's kind of cliche, but we always say your board needs to be on board. That's kind of, they don't have to do a whole lot of active outreach. We love to use their relationships when it comes to buildings and such, but honestly, if you have your board and then you have a few people, even we work with small and large, but if you can put together a committee like Kelly said and hold them accountable, and with our continual strategy calls that we have throughout the whole process, it can be very, very successful. So thank you again, Kelly. We're super excited for her. It was her first year, and now obviously they're moving into their second year with even more goal setting, and that's exactly what happened. So she definitely had some bumps in the road. We definitely had to work through some things, and it happened. We all came together, and no one was left alone. So it just really shows how important our partnership really is. So we value that. We value our partnerships with all of our stakeholders. So thank you again, Kelly. Evan?
Yeah, I think just to kind of wrap up, me and Sydney will definitely reach out to everyone who's here, just so that you all have our contact information. We'd love to learn more about, the United Way in your area and kind of the different fundraisers that you've previously held. I think I can speak on behalf of the majority of our partners from 2020 and 2021. If anything, they, what that has taught them is that they're looking for new and innovative events, which is definitely what we bring to the table. So me and Sydney will reach out to everybody, and just so you have our information, and to set up a call if we could answer any more questions. But I think we have time. I want to be, mindful of everyone's time, but if there's any questions that we could answer now, we could put them in the chat or
That'd be great. I think we have some in there now. Sydney, do you want to read those out loud and we can get those answered by whoever needs to?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
So our first question is from the United Way of South Central NE, and they asked, what is the demographic of our population of the communities? And then I think they're really asking what the population of your community was, Kelly, and how that affected your event.
So we are one county United Way, but we are the second largest United Way in our state. So we do have quite a population that we serve. And demographics wise, as far as, net worth and that sort of thing, we are all across the board. We have 4 quadrants and our community is very, very diverse. But it is one of the larger communities in the state of Indiana.
Great. So then the next question is from Sherry, and she asked, what kind of lead time do you suggest for the first year? And she would like to hear about the bumps in the road and what you learned from them, Kelly.
I'm not sure that you have time for the bumps in the road. I think what the things that we anticipated being bumps in the road, COVID, obviously, planning during that year, and no one really knowing. I mean, we had an event component to it all along that we knew we may not be able to execute. We knew, of course, in the state of Indiana, especially, that the weather, we could actually get snow in May. It's not unheard of. Very typically it is windy and rainy. And so we knew that that was a potential challenge. So there were things that, of course, we anticipated. We got all of those things and more. For us, I think the thing that I learned and was most proud of, and we preemptively did not knowing that it was going to be useful in the end, is that we knew that, or at least I knew that, there's a building owner, but then there's a property management piece that is almost always involved with the building, and getting them kind of on your team early on. They are usually the ones that have to execute. So building owner signs off on it and then everybody else has to do the work sometimes. And so just kind of having them as your advocate in the process is super beneficial. We had, because of COVID, we had a corporate naming component that was very concerned about the appearance of having a mass gathering. And so our event was scheduled to take place in the parking lot of their building. We had to move it last minute. So there were definitely things that we knew internally. Over the Edge helped walk us through every step of that. But the general public did not know and was completely unaffected. And at the end of the day, when the cause is the cause, the money is the money. We did get rained on.
Yep.
The second day didn't even bother doing my hair because we knew that there was no point, but the dollars were still raised, and the mission behind it, we did an effective job of creating fundraisers out of our fundraisers. They knew explicitly what they were raising dollars for, and they became our advocates and our voices in the community. And so that worked to our benefit, but there were some bumps in the road.
Anything else, Sydney?
Can this event be held in the winter? It's kind of an OTE question. And as well, if at the same time, how tall of a building do you need is a good question too, just on logistics, but that can be touched very quickly. And then we have someone who just wants a very brief overview. They were a little late to the game about what exactly our event is.
Okay. So can it be held in the winter? First question. It kind of depends on what your winter is like. So we'd rather not do it in the snow for safety purposes. We are going down rope. So however, we've done it, and we all know that probably the one thing that we say we absolutely don't want to do is in the heat of the summer when it's 100 degrees and we have staff on a roof for 2 days. That's the the definitely part where you can do early summer, late summer, just in that heat of the time. That's very, very difficult for staff. And obviously volunteers and participants as well. So winter, we can talk about that one-off. I think that all kind of depends on your region and what that looks like for your winter. So that's kind of an individualized question that we can discuss for sure. Tall building. So really we like to say on an average a minimum of 6 floors or 6 stories. It's hard to say stories because every building is different. If they're older, they've got shorter ceilings. If they're tall, you know, if they're newer, they got taller ceilings. So so that's a very relative thing, but we kind of say as a general rule, 6 to 30 is kind of the broad number that you can use. And just a general overview very, very quickly, whoever it was that came in late. Again, Evan and or Sydney will reach out to you as well and can give you some more information. But very quickly, we partner with nonprofit organizations that are looking for something different for fundraising efforts. It's an urban repelling fundraiser. And so we come to your community and we have you have a partner with us, and then we partner with a building and we rappel down for fundraising, peer-to-peer fundraiser. Very, very quick overview. Anything else we can answer before we jump off?
Just to go back over, what would the suggested lead time be for a first year event? How much time should they prep and plan for?
We say the sweet spot 6 to 9 months. However, you have something that's, you know, we have some that are looking, you know, because of course we're looking into 2022 for this event already. So you're already looking into at least 9 to 12 months already. So that's fantastic. But if you were looking into it as in that year, at least 6 to 9 months. So anything that you plan, we're planning all the way through December of 2022 right now. So that is what we're already looking for from this call moving into 2022. So it just gives you more to advantage for sure. So this is good for you guys. Any other further questions right now? If not, we can wrap up. And again, Sydney and Evan will reach out to everyone on the call. And then we can also send this, once it comes through, we can send the recording of that as well to you. So if that's it, I think we're good to go. We really appreciate your time. Again, Kelly, thank you for the information. I think that's invaluable to everyone here, knowing it came right from, and you just came off your event just a month and a half ago. So she's still with us. That's a good thing. So again, thank you all for your time. We really appreciate it and really hope to hear from you and take this to the next step. Have a great afternoon. Okay, bye-bye.